Well, are you one of those people who sets a New Year's resolution or a goal every year to, lose weight, quit smoking, start dating, get out of your debt, only to find yourself flat busted by February?
Usually by the second week, actually. The second week of January. It's that bad. Well, life designer Vanessa Boli will be with us for the next 5 days to bring you the quick start guide to finally hitting your goal in 2010. We always hear this, you can do it, you can do it. You say one thing is to basically, top of your list, be clear. Because explain the mistake we make when making our resolution.
Yeah, there's two big mistakes that people make when they're setting their goals. One is that the goals are way too vague. And then two, there's no real decision around the goal. So for instance, it'll sound like, well, I want to lose weight, or I hope to get out of debt, or I'd like to make more money this year. So instead, you want to make sure that your goal has a very clear outcome and a very specific deadline by which you intend to attain it.
Are we just missing the how-to?
Well, actually, for instance, I'll give you an example. It becomes by March 15th, I will have lost 12 pounds, or by March 31st, I will have paid $2,300 worth of debt. So you've got a clear outcome, clear deadline, but it also makes you the director of that action. So it's not, I hope, I want, and maybe this will happen. It's, here's what I'm committed to doing. So that's really the how-to there. Here's why that's so important. It's 3 reasons. One, when you've got a clear goal, clear deadline, you kind of focus your decisions between now and the time that you hit your goal. So for instance, if it's a debt goal, I'm going to pay $2,300 by the end of the quarter, and I can upgrade my cell phone for $90 and get the latest model or whatever, you ask yourself the question, if I pay this $90, is this heading in the direction of getting out of debt, or am I going in the opposite direction? So you're focused there.
It's a tough thing when
it's hard.
Do you suggest writing this down? How do you keep it top of mind?
I suggest writing it down. I suggest putting yourself on blast, which means that you're telling other people what your goal is. There's an embarrassment factor there that says, if I don't hit this goal, then all the people are going to talk about me for not doing it, but it also keeps you accountable. Here's another reason, particularly for relationships, because there's a lot of people who have that goal where I'm finding my perfect hottie this year, and man or woman or whatever.
And I will not be single on Valentine's Day.
That's right, because you did a segment on single across the holidays the last couple of weeks, and so how do you change that for this year? Well, if you're clear about, here are the values that I want in a man or woman, so when you're going out on that first or second date, by then you already know, you know what, this is a fantastic guy, but he's fantastic for somebody else. Because here's what I'm looking for, and these are, he's not quite aligned. Or for the guy, you're not spending 2 months whining and dining, spending money on a woman, 2 months later to find out that's not the person that you want to invest in. So those are real reasons why that's important for you.
One problem I've always had with resolutions, and why I don't make them anymore, is that life gets in the way. I mean, unforeseen consequences, unforeseen circumstances, crises, whatever come in the way, and you put things aside, and then the next thing you know, maybe at work you've been reassigned, everything's off the table, and you're starting afresh in some way or another.
But here's the deal: when you set a goal, it's a goal. But again, life happens, and so when you know what the ultimate outcome is, when things happen that kind of detour you, you're able to then shift and get back where you need to go. For instance, if you ever fly, like I was flying across country to California, for the holidays, 90% of the time you're off course in the place that you're trying to get to, and so the pilot is always readjusting so that eventually you get where you want to go. But if you know what your goal is, and let's say I get reassigned or something, how do I need to shift? What do I need? What changes do I need to make? Prime example, for a weight goal, if my goal is to lose 25 pounds by March 31st, at February 15th I can tell, because I know it's 25 pounds, how am I doing? I'm not getting there.
Here's the thing, sometimes it's way unrealistic. People do this. I want to lose 30 pounds by this date, and sometimes not healthy. You can't do it, and if you do it, you're not going to maintain it. So how do you check yourself there? You're absolutely right. One of the tips is, let's not make this astronomical. I'm going to lose 116 pounds by June 30th, and I've never stepped foot on a treadmill, right? So you want to figure out, look at my environment, what's realistic for me, and I'm not a proponent of setting puny goals, let's be clear, but what's my environment like, what's realistic, and then let me stretch that by 25 to 30%, because what happens is maybe you lost 25 pounds and you didn't lose 50, but in your mind you failed. But if you set a goal that's reasonable but that's a stretch, then you can celebrate what you did do.
Is that the biggest mistake that people make, is unrealistic expectations?
The biggest mistake that people make is that they set goals that they really don't want. So for instance, you've got to make sure, we set goals because we think we should, or because somebody said that we should or has imposed it. For instance, a friend called the other day and he said, Vanessa, I started this home business about 1.5 years ago, and this is the year I never did anything with it, but this is my year. The challenge for him was he's a health and wellness guy. He loves health and wellness. That's just his nature. His goal, his business was in travel. And so there was no interest. There's nothing around that. But he felt like he should, for integrity's sake, go after and close the loop on this. And so we do that a lot, taking on goals that really aren't our own, and then we sabotage and we think, well, I suck. Well, it's not that you suck. It wasn't the goal for you to begin with.
So you think it's even the time of the year to do it? We do the new year with the new resolutions with the new year, but there's so much pressure on it. I mean, like, for instance, the weight loss. It's cold outside. If you miss the gym, you're not going to want to walk outside by your house, and it just seems like maybe you should pick a good time of the year where, hey, I'm a summer person, I'll start in June.
It's to give yourself some options. And it's funny because we'll talk a little bit more about options on day 2 and 3, but when you set the goal to lose weight, you don't have to join the gym if you don't like joining the gym. You don't have to be at the fitness boot camp at 5:30 in the morning. There's lots of things that you can do. You can belly dance. You can do the I don't want to give an endorsement, but you can do some of those home kind of, gyms or what have you. You want to find different options that get you where you want to go, but then allow you to deal with the detours that Doug talked about, but that's fun, that you like, not just because everybody else is doing it. But it doesn't mean that, well, because it's cold, then I don't, let me wait till May to start. It's what option is going to really support me in the environment that I have now.
Yeah, I feel like we're always setting ourselves up to fail. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you're going to win the lottery too.
But what's great
go ahead.
What's great for folks is that because it's a 5-day series, we set up a website for viewers to go to. It's www.thebiglifenetwork.com/Let's Talk Live. And it gives them all the tools, tips, and videos to be able to say, okay, here's what I need to do step by step to make this goal happen. So day 1 is already on there for folks to be able to download information.
Good deal.
Cool.
Have some help along the way.
By Friday, if you don't have a set straight, then we're in big trouble.
That's right. Friday, we've got you.
Big things for you, Renee. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Renee.